So today, Kate and I are going to take on a subject that we really don't have good answers to, but it comes up quite a bit. And we can just frame it, I think, maybe in authenticity. It came up a couple weeks ago as even myself recognizing I used to show up at work as the professional I thought I should show up to be, and then show up at home not as a different person, but a different perspective, different lens I would bring into as being a mom or a wife or just with my family. Very different. I'm actually a fun person. I'm actually I like to do fun things. I like to do activities. I like to have Halloween parties. I love to create fun experiences personally, and yet professionally, I thought I had to be very professional and very tight, I guess I would say. And I recognize that many of you do as well. And wanted to explore what about that is good or right, and what about that is not, and create some sort of friction. So I'll turn it over to Kate. We'll just have this dialogue and see where we go.
Sounds good. So there's a lot that comes up for me when we think about authenticity at work, at home, with friends, etc. I'm the opposite, Gwen. I used to show up at work as I did at home, and you just there's one Kate that you got, period, end of story. Whether you liked her or not, there was one Kate. I used to say, not everybody's a fan of Kate, and that's okay. And it's been over the last few years that I've really started to kind of unpack how I was showing up, and was I okay with that? In fact, about gosh, I want to say it was probably 7 years into my relationship with my ex-husband, where he didn't really like how I was showing up socially. And I was getting rewarded for a very bold and very assertive, we'll say, personality at work, because I worked in the tech industry, and I was very well rewarded for having an opinion, inserting that opinion, being argumentative, inquiring about what what people thought about things, challenging their ideas. And I would bring that to my social situations, and he just was really uncomfortable with it. And I actually asked him, should I quit my job and go to some place that is a little bit less, direct, less assertive, that rewards me for different behavior, because I get rewarded for being this person, and it's only going to get worse. And he was like, no, 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 don't do that. Well, that relationship ended probably about a year and a half later. And because we just weren't, it was oil and water. We weren't gelling. He wasn't proud to be with me. And that was not great for me. Didn't love that feeling. So I've not put on different hats always. And as a result, like, that hasn't always been great for my relationships. A couple of years ago, I took a step back and said, okay, well, who are the people that I admire, and what qualities do they have? And why am I so bold? Why am I so fearless? Why am I so, I'm a fearless people pleaser. It was like a weird, really weird combination. And really started looking at my motivations, and started trying to like parse out, what came from fear versus and a need for security, versus what came from a true desire to do the work. And so that's kind of the journey that I've been on. I still show up in both places, work, home, socially, as the same person, but that person is evolving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm laughing inside because you said you were rewarded at work for being direct. I was the opposite. I came from a small, rural, blue collar town, Midwest, and went into a Catholic healthcare organization, and was told at times I was too direct.
Mm-hmm.
and then moved to another Midwest health system, and was told a few times I was too direct. And so, that's where I really was honed to be something different in that environment. And not that that was bad, but it didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel like I could blossom. It didn't feel like I could thrive. It felt like I was always hiding something or needing to hide something, or I had some defect, which just blew my mind, because how is direct bad? I always hear clear is kind. I'm trying to clearly articulate I don't understand something, or I have a different opinion, or I just like to get to the point, rather than dance around a topic at times, or ask a direct question for clarity. But there are places and cultures where that is not accepted. And I wondered always if it was not just accepted at all, period, or not accepted by a female.
That's what I was thinking, was how much do you think that was gender based?
Yeah, and I'm not sure, but I don't think that any male would have been taken aside and said, I'm sorry, you're being too direct in this environment. I find that hard to believe.
I got you're an aggressive woman, one boss while I was in tech, and it was a female boss. And my next boss was amazing. She recognized my assertiveness, and I think we'll actually have her on the podcast in a couple of weeks. But she recognized the assertiveness and was like, you know what? I look at it as, if a man would not be spoken to about the behavior, then it's okay for you to have that behavior. We shouldn't be tailoring our feedback based upon what gender you identify as. We should be tailoring our feedback based upon how effective you are, but not, because you're a woman, you shouldn't act that way.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, was it me showing up as different things, or was it that I might not have been in the right environment?
Yeah.
Professionally.
Now, I will say that there's some things that we should probably leave at home.
Yeah.
Some belief systems that just are disruptive to the workplace. I'm thinking of either, very conservative or very liberal views. Like, those types of things just don't necessarily make business easier. So I think that whole concept of, like, we want you to bring your whole self to work is not really true, because we want you to leave your racist thoughts at home. We want you to leave your inflammatory thoughts at home. We're here to do business. And it's not the particular place to engage in dialogue around certain types of things, depending on your industry. So I think that when we say your whole self, we don't necessarily mean every iota of yourself.
Yeah.
But being direct, being assertive, being bold, being fearless, even being indirect, right? There's a case to be made that a lot of leadership is made out of extroverted individuals, and so we have to make space for our introverted thinkers as well. So welcoming all types into the organization, and all ways of doing things, and acknowledging that no one way is the right way.
Yeah. And I always like to infuse humor and fun and just, lighten the load a little bit in different ways. And sometimes that goes over and sometimes it doesn't. And so I guess what I'm settling in here with at this point is if I'm doing these things and showing up in these ways because I really have passion for the mission of the organization or for the goal of the team or for the best of another individual, then that should be okay.
Mhm.
And if that's not okay, then I probably am on the wrong team or in the wrong place. But if I'm doing all these things with good intent, um, and others are uncomfortable with it, then that's probably their issue and not mine.
Yeah. It goes back to like my relationship with my ex-husband that
Yeah.
eventually faded because he wasn't uncomfortable. Should have probably been the wrong organization for you, right? That should have faded. It
Yeah.
should have been a place that leveraged all your boldness, leveraged all your fun quirkiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
What
so
about
in this day and age, a lot of others are experiencing this as well. And I don't want to just start a flow of people leaving their organizations, but you probably do need to have a conversation with yourself or with a really good confidant about how are you showing up? How are you feeling when you're trying to show up as your real you? Are you being appropriate or are you crossing a line of some sort? Let's get real. And how do you want to handle that? How do you want to handle that with your colleagues, with your boss, with others in the organization, and put a plan together about how to have conversations. If you're receiving negative feedback directly or indirectly, how do you want to address it and try to heal that or make a plan for option 2, option 3, option 4, whatever that is?
Yeah. What occurs to me is and not to push assessments, but strengths, Gallup strengths, and the Enneagram have both two really good lenses to say, I show up with these strengths. I'm going to be most effective with these talents and strengths if the organization needs them and wants them. And my lens and how I view the world, which is the Enneagram, can tell me, why I'm motivated to do the things that I do. So if you're struggling with that thought of like, well, I'm getting all this feedback, negative feedback on how I'm showing up, do you want to learn why? Or do you want to learn more about your strengths to figure out, where you might be a better fit? Maybe not in that particular group in the organization, maybe not leaving the organization, but finding another place within the organization that is a better fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a way as well.
Yeah. So that's a great plug for coaching.
Not intended, by the way.
But true.
Yeah.
Sometimes the very best resource is a coach that can provide you with feedback, that can help you through assessments, that can role play, and have these uncomfortable conversations with somebody that's been there before, probably had many coaching clients before that they have helped transition to success. So that's always the gold star.
Yes. Yeah. Don't stay in a place where you're not getting the gold star, right? Where you're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out how to change the situation because each and every single one of us is amazing.
Each and every single one of us is amazing. Yes.
Yep. Just got to find the right place to thrive.
And deserve the ability to show up professionally, but
Yeah,
authentically as well. Whatever
absolutely.
that means for them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Kate.
Thank you. Talk
We'll
soon.
talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.